It is one of the main practices that is obviously quite famous, if you want to see. So, but the path is a path of...
Wait, I know him.
We just had this discussion at Mr. Organics.
He goes to the gym.
I know.
Okay.
Kind of funny. Okay. I told him about that. Yeah, I was like...
And you have not reconvened with him since being here?
Nope. No.
Does he know that he's on the cover of this book?
I think so.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I'm sure he's gonna cry when I
Is it okay that we're saying their names?
I don't care.
Okay.
They didn't sign an NDA, and I've never actually said. Well, you brought him up. So, presence over penis, like any day, and I had a.
Say it again.
This is fuckery.
Right.
And in this Miami culture, it's like everyone fucks around, everyone sleeps and smashes.
Yeah, it's play all day.
All day. But then it's like, what are you doing to your body, your temple, your energy bodies, your mental, your emotional, your spiritual connections? Even though you don't feel those body parts, those energy bodies, because you're numb, they still exist. Like water.
You do it every day.
I do. If I'm rushing and stuff, no, because I need to make sure I have a clean cup. And like at the hotel, they haven't been, for some reason, they're not replenishing my damn cups. Like, give me my cups. I want to drink my urine. But like, what the fuck? Maybe I need to call them that, and then they will do it. Because this is strange. Like, it was just talking to Mr. Organico about this. And did I make him Spanish, Mr. Organico?
I think like briefly
Hola,
before.
Mr. Organico, dámelo, papi. You know, like, what did I just do?
I let you have it because I was like,
look, Mr. Organic. Just like let it roll off my tongue. That's what she said.
To the ICU podcast. It is your girl. If you don't know me by now, I am Candice Chung Candino on all platforms, TikTok, Instagram. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, we could do that. We just hopped Which camera is mine? Is it this one?
This one, yes.
And this is the main, that's yours?
Yes.
Yeah. So my name is Shakti, JG, Shakti Janelle Gordon, if you will. Shakti is sort of my given spiritual name.
Okay.
But it means divine feminine energy. And that's what I choose to embody. And that's what I want to emulate to the world and help other women step into that so that they can attract their divine masculine energy, their Shivas. And so as women, we're very powerful. I don't think we need any more power. We're too powerful, I think. But I do think that we need to redirect that energy into our body. And so we need to be embodied divine feminine energy, because when we're in that place, we can flip the masculine back into Shivahood.
Yeah.
Right now we have it the other way. Like men are feminine, women are masculine, and it's fucking everything up. Nobody's happy.
Yeah.
So I'm an intimacy tantra master and therapist. I basically help singles, men and women who are in relationships or married, help them achieve lasting, passionate, connected relationships. And I do that through the science of sexual polarity, meaning keeping that attraction alive, helping people heal from sexual trauma and shame, and also learn to master their sexual energy.
Wow. So where did the education, or how did this start? Because most people, they start with education. They're like, oh, I need to go get a certification, get a degree.
Yeah.
What was your start?
I have all of those. So my starting point was, at the time I was still stripping. I believe I still even had a pimp at that time, but it was like on my way out. It wasn't my main pimp that my TED Talk was about, but just like a loose one. It would like take my money, and he wouldn't like beat me up or anything, but he was just very like a finesse pimp. And so I was still like, couldn't get out of the life. Even though I'd left Vegas, I was in San Antonio, Texas. And someone, like, basically when I was stripping in Vegas, I got involved in the Bikram yoga community. So Bikram yoga like kind of saved my life. I didn't equate it all together, but is like the gateway drug. We consider like Bikram, like it's like not really yoga, if you will. It's just like yoga for the masses. Okay. Because true yoga, you don't need heat. The heat comes through the breath work that your body creates when you're doing these asanas in flow and with breath combined. And you don't need mnemonics of someone shouting. There's a sequence that you flow through, and it connects your masculine and feminine, hatha, sun, moon. And that's what true yoga is, but most people don't know that. They just know.
Definitely didn't know that.
Yeah, they just
And
know.
the yoga that I do is hard enough.
Yeah, they just do like what is taught. And it's great. And I love that people are doing something.
Yeah, just be like, let me just move my body a bit different.
Yeah. But it's not like the true lineage. So I started in 2011 was my first guru. Someone from the Bikram community was like, hey, come to this teacher training with me in New York, this yoga training. And I was like, okay, I guess so. I was like, what are we gonna do? He's like, well, we're gonna learn how to teach yoga. I was like, okay, well, I was already, pretty good at yoga. So I said, let me just try this. I remember actually like a client paid for me. He was like, oh, you wanna go teach yoga? Great, I think you'll do well. So he wrote me a check. I sent it to the studio. To the yoga studio in Manhattan. And then I did a month, 6 weeks, I believe, training, life of a yogi teacher training. Very done stuff I had never done in my life. Like we'd meditate for a couple hours in the morning. I would typically use that as my time to fall asleep. I didn't really know what meditation was. It was not even remotely on my radar. And we learned some crazy stuff that I just never even knew existed. So that's what started. From there, I did Institute for Integrative Nutrition, which is the largest.
I almost did that.
Yeah, it's amazing. I highly recommend you do it.
Yeah?
I recommend everyone do it. It is so, and if you want to do it, I can get you a code and you're good. And
really?
You can save some money. Yeah.
I would love to, because I pulled out. I don't remember why I pulled out, but I definitely talked to them and was gung-ho about it.
Yes. So I, again, was also transformational in my life. I had just intuitively been vegan since 6th grade. I just felt like when I grew up, the family that I was placed in by the state, they were standard American diet, ate whatever. But I just, in 6th grade, I was like, I can't kill animals. I don't want to do this.
Wow.
I'm done. No one told me. I didn't grow up that way. I grew up, meat and potatoes. That's how we grew up. So I just felt that intuitively. And since then, I never looked back. I mean, I've adjusted.
You're still vegan to this day?
I'm more plant-based, as I do honey, and occasionally I do eggs and things like that. So, and I do wear leather, and I'm not like one of those hardcore annoying vegans, if you will. Sorry, no offense. Love those guys, but it's kind of a lot, and most people
shampoos,
it's just
conditioners,
everything.
all the things. You're there?
Pretty much so.
Okay.
Some makeup, I'm like skincare, no. But some makeup, I use what's good, because a lot of the mascara, because a lot of that stuff that's so clean, it doesn't fucking work. It's like, what am I supposed to do with this? But yeah, skincare, hair, all that stuff, like toothpaste is, just weird organic stuff, like all that stuff. So definitely IIN was a huge opener for me because we studied 600 different dietary theories. It really confused you. And it was so funny because you're like, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to eat now. But that's exactly what they want you to do. I
don't know what to eat ever now, and I eat everything.
It's so confused. So confusing. But they want you to be confused because then it's like you have to, you'll learn this if you go. It's bioindividuality. It's a term, and primary food and all these things. So that really helped me. And it helped me to start eating healthy and not just being a vegan by so it was kind of so that really taught me everything I needed to understand from a perspective of what is my body telling me I need and what is going to be the best for my bioindividuality, and then also understanding my primary food. So from that, I really became on a trajectory to focus on that.
How old are you?
I was 30, early 31, maybe 31. Still, pretty young, and just feeling okay. It was like a light bulb went off. And then it was right after that I met my angel investor who sent me to my Tantra school. He basically came, I met him.
Okay.
Yeah, I met him in the club. I didn't actually meet him. Cocktail waitress met him in the club, or talked to him in the club, and basically was like, she said, he's super harmless. Can I give him your number? And I was like, sure, if that's what you want. Yeah. And she's like, yeah, he wants to talk to you. So we started talking. He just told me, hey, I experienced a lot of sexual trauma in my life. Mm-hmm. And I experienced it at a very formative years. I was, in high school, and it was a public thing. It was in front of, a couple hundred kids, and it changed my life. Yeah. He told me, yeah, this happened. And the only thing that helped me, that saved me, was attending this Tantra retreat in Sedona. And he said, I just have this feeling that you're supposed to do this work and that it's going to be very powerful, and that what
Wow.
you're doing now ain't it, basically. So he said, find a school and I'll send you. And this was like the first time I met him. I was like, okay. And so I started researching Tantra schools. I really had no idea what it meant. I did not understand that it was something sexual or spiritual. I didn't know. I was just like, I wanted to get out of the cycle, and I needed something to help free me. Basically started looking up Tantra schools. I found one in Thailand, one in India, and I had grown up as a pastor missionary's daughter in Thailand with a family that the state awarded me to. And so it was just kind of like, okay, Thailand feels safe because I grew up here. So I went back to Thailand. And after that, you know, I spent a year just studying with my guru, with my master, with you know, all my colleagues. And then I just didn't want to leave because I wanted to learn. I would student teach for them. I would do whatever they wanted me to do. I would do it. I just wanted to really learn this path. And I sort of became, it was an obsession. I felt like I had been given this secret that the world didn't understand, and that was keeping them all in chains to their sexual shame and trauma and their weakness and their inability to master their sexual energy. And I felt like everyone was in prison, and I felt like I'd been given the key to set them free. And so it became kind of my mission to reach the masses. I didn't want to target yogis. I didn't want to have people who were like speak yogis who knew all that. I wanted just people, entrepreneurs, people who were successful in life and wanted to take their life to the next level. And so that is what I've been doing for the past, you know, really since COVID. I just pushed it pedal to the metal. So
how many years of practice before you got comfortable
so I've been
to
in
like
Tantra
teach?
for over 10 years now.
Okay.
My son just turned 10.
Yeah.
So it's it's 11 years now that I started, that I trained with my Tantra school. So yeah, 11 years of practice.
Christ.
Obviously still learning, still growing and learning. Tantra is such a complex practice.
I don't technically know what it means. So like,
Yeah.
what is it defined as?
Well,
Is it like when people sit on each other and hug?
Yeah. I didn't bring my book up here. I'll have to have my son bring that up. Francie, bring my book up, please. It's on there. So basically, yeah, Yab Yam it's a personal development, spiritual path, finding the ultimate union. So it's the science of sexual polarity paired with,
Thank you.
So you were referencing this, which is Yab Yam. It's the cosmic embrace, or the divine embrace, the cosmic hug, you can see.
Yeah.
And that is not Tantra in of itself. It is one of the main practices that is obviously quite famous, if you want to see. So, but the path is a path of...
Wait, I know him.
Joel. Yeah. We just had this discussion at Mr. Organics.
He goes to the gym.
I know.
Okay.
It's kind of funny.
Okay.
I told him about that. Yeah, I was like, yeah, this is kind of funny. I know. I said I can't wait for him to...
I'm about to tell him tomorrow, like, I've seen you in a book.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
So we had a connection, and I haven't talked to him in a few years. He sort of left to... We had a very interesting spiritual divine connection, and, you know, he had to sort of hunker down and like handle stuff in LA. And then when he left LA, he went to Mexico and Miami, and that's when, you know, he actually came up and did his thing. And I always knew he would. A lot of my friends were like, why do you even talk to this guy? Like, he's just a washed up barber coach, and he's like, they thought he was gay. They would say all this stuff. And
what?
And yeah.
Definitely not that.
You said
definitely not that.
Well, yeah. So
go on.
So a lot, like, everyone was like, what are you doing? What is this? What is happening? And I was like, no, we have a connection. And so yeah, so that's that. But I didn't even know what he was doing, because we haven't spoken in since he left LA, which was 2 years ago.
And you have not reconvened with him since being here?
Nope. No.
Does he know that he's on the cover of this book?
I think so.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I'm sure he's seen it.
Okay.
I mean, I've been on some pretty big shows.
Okay.
So, I mean, we did this the shots and stuff, it was promotional. So I told him, yeah, he knew he was, because we were testing covers when we were still talking, and then he was like, oh, my first book cover. And that was when he was still in LA.
Okay.
So, but he hasn't seen the book like out now and doesn't know that he's like, do you know what I'm saying? Because we haven't connected since he left LA, which was either 2 or 2.5 years ago, which I'm trying to play it back. I think this Christmas will
You're going to be like, I need some copyright on that.
I'll be like, you're making way more money than me now, so I think you're fine. I mean, I know some of you were like, did he get anything signed? I was like, no, it was just like, I was Shakti. I was Shakti, and he's Shakti, and he was, I won't say his little nickname. I don't want to embarrass him, but that's what it was. And he knew he was on the book cover, because he even was joking with Dakota, who's his other friend, and he was like, yeah, my first book cover. And I was like, I never dated.
Yeah.
I was like, grew up in the foster system, was placed in a cold, then I was trafficked in Vegas in the strip clubs, then I was in the, I was in the army, got discharged, trafficked in the strip clubs, then I went straight to an ashram in Thailand. Like, I never fucking dated.
A what room?
An ashram.
What's an ashram?
It's like a spiritual school.
Oh,
an
okay.
An ashram.
Okay.
You've heard it, like Osho. Osho had an ashram that he
And you
led.
said a cult?
Yeah, like a.
We
yes.
just went so many places that I was like.
So I always say I went from God to sex and sex back to God, because Tantra is sex and God combined.
Okay.
So basically, I was just like, yeah, but I'm having fun, guys. I've never done this, and Isaiah and I had the most like insane sexual, like, it was just like he'd walk in the room, we'd see each other, and it was just like that all the time. And like I was telling Mr. Organic, because Mr. Organic's like, I'm 10 and I'm with, and I was like, and I said, you know what? I said, it's the truth. And I told him, this happened with Isaiah. He was the same. He was like 10 plus, girth, everything. And it was just like, not just that, but he was an Aquarius. So we vibed, because I'm Virgo, and we just vibed. And I just had so much fun with him. It was like youthful fun. And the sexual polarity was just insane. And I knew he wasn't right for me, because he was just such a baby. And not, like, Joel and him are the same age. In fact, Joel's younger. But Joel was, like, way up here mentally and emotionally is a stretch, but mentally and spiritually. And Isaiah was, like, on the ground, not even there. Like, he was, like, hooping, like like Drake and the OVO shirts and all that weird shit, and 10 Air Force Ones. That was his life, right? And so I'm saying all this to say that when Isaiah and I split, it was really hard for me. I got so, like, the sexual polarity was so intense, I didn't want to leave it. Because I was like, but then there was so much more. There wasn't an energetic, there wasn't a spiritual, there wasn't a mental, there wasn't much of an emotional. So, this is fucking funny. So, the funny part is, Isaiah, like, he didn't want to lose me, because who would want to lose me, right? And he knew that he was, I tell him to this day, and he told me after we split, I'm never going to find anyone like you. And I was like, of course not. What do you mean I'm Shakti? Like, they don't make women like, but this is what I do. I am the embodied goddess in human form teaching. What are you talking about? Of course you're not going to find me. You're going to find younger and hotter, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But not Shakti. And so that realization came to him. The thing is, and I'm very open, I'm very honest about these things. He wanted to sort of fuck the hoes and then keep me, and hope I wait around for him to get that out of his system. So I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore, because the suffering is just too much. I have to cut it. So I cut it. Within a few months, I met Joel, which this, you're gonna cry when I tell
Is it
you.
okay that we're saying their names?
I don't care.
Okay.
They didn't sign an NDA. And I've never actually said, well, you brought him up, so of course we're going to talk about. So did Mr. Organico. I've never said my ex's name, but Mr. Organico was like, what's his name? I said, Isaiah. He had, shout out to Isaiah in Vegas. I'm like, oh my God. So now their names are out there. What are you going to do now?
Right, well,
I didn't say last name, so use your imagination. But basically, Joel was Isaiah's mentor in the barber world. And I can't make this up. Like, I cannot make this up. And I had
It wasn't her fault. She didn't know.
I had no idea because
didn't know.
I was introduced to him.
We don't be knowing y'all are friends.
Through one of Joel's best friends, who was a yogi online influencer who reached out to me. And we started collabing. And that's how Joel and I met. So the funny thing was, it was so full circle because
That's
Isaiah
hella full
was
circle.
and that's the ultimate revenge, right? Like, it wasn't even planned. So it was, that part was very fucking funny. Then everyone was like the running jokes. Do you just like barbers? But so basically when I met Joel, it was like on some, you know, energetic, spiritual stuff.
Yeah.
And obviously there was something there, but you know, it's just like all, and again, he was young. He was like a year younger than Isaiah. So it wasn't like I was just like, oh, I want to just only date guys 15 years younger. No, it just happened. That's how it happened. And then, you know, it was just a part of the plan.
How old are you now?
I'm in my early 40s.
Okay.
Just barely over 40.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So this is low key recent.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is all recent. What are you talking about?
Yeah, this is hella recent.
This is why I'm telling you. I think Joel moved like 2 years ago. And that's when we stopped talking when he moved. I don't want to get into all of that exactly, but it was, and it was hard for me because Joel and I had it was like obviously some kind of cosmic connection, but he needed to really focus on what he needed to do. And I was obviously a distraction.
Yeah.
And I think that we were in each other's lives for a reason. Like I always knew he would do what he was doing. I didn't know it was going to happen that fast, but I always believed it would happen. And I always knew Isaiah would just sort of end up a barber, just living a normal life in Vegas, or with a little 1-car garage with a wife, you know, and just like normal life. And that's not me. And
How did we get here? I'm trying to
know. We were talking about my training, and then you noticed the book.
Yeah. That's what it was. I'm like,
you noticed the book.
How did we?
And you're the second person that noticed it. So I was like,
it's Miami. Miami's super small.
Dude,
Miami's super small. I've only been here for a year.
Okay,
I moved here last year in May.
Girl, I felt like this was gonna happen. I was like, I didn't pay too much mind because, you know, how things left with us. And listen, I have nothing but love and positive things to say about me, and I bet he would say the same. And
about him.
About him.
Yeah.
And I don't think he would say a bad thing about me. Whatever happened between us happened between us. You know, and I'll just keep it that way. But I always knew, I will say this, if he ever sees this, I always believed in him. And I always, oh my gosh, why am I getting emotional? I always knew that he was going to make it. And that's why I was attracted to him, because he had the same, like, you know, the same practices and similar practices as what I did.
Wow.
But yeah, so that's my barber fetish, apparently. Like, it's like, people are like, what? They're like, do you just freaking only like date and sleep with barbers? I'm like,
we went
no.
from the School of Integrative Medicine to
my barber fetish. Like, this is real. We can't make
stripper to cult to there's a lot.
There's a lot of stuff.
There's a lot to unveil
There's
here.
just a lot to unpack.
But I appreciate that you allow people to see you.
I'm very like, this is the thing, and this is what and I'm a Virgo, so I'm very attention to detail and very obsessed with these being right. But this is what I do practice what I teach. I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes. I've, you know, hurt people. People have hurt me, and that's life, and that's the human experience. But the one thing about me I will say is that I'm transparent as fuck. There's nothing that I'm going to hide or shirk away from, unless it's annoying hair, unless it's something to do with my son's father, just out of respect for my son, because that's his life. But I really believe in authenticity. And
I love that.
And if you want to have intimacy, you need presence, surrender, and authenticity that sort of bridges that gap to get to intimacy. So if I'm sitting up here preaching this, but I can't be open and honest that, yeah, I loved Isaiah, but I knew he was not right for me. He was not emotionally evolved. He was not even spiritually, he didn't even understand the work I did. You know, his intellect he was like a hooper. And, you know, it wasn't
How
like.
do you deal with that though?
It was tough. It was
very
tough.
much low key in that same situation where it's like I think it's his pheromones as well.
Yeah.
Like I don't fully understand pheromones. So my ex-husband, would always like smell me. He was like, you just smell so good.
Yeah, because he liked that.
He liked my
Yeah.
friend. And then I found someone after that would like, he explained it to me. He's like, literally
Yeah.
like our pheromones, like
No, they pick
they
for
like
us.
each other.
Yeah.
And then I experienced it with someone else, like in Miami. And it's like when he breathes on me, I'm like, why do I like that?
You're like, this is okay.
But I know for sure we're not aligned mentally.
Yeah.
We're not aligned emotionally.
No,
It's just like,
and then not
how-
but see, that's
definitely
how
not
strong,
spiritually. Like,
that's how strong the sexual polarity was. And then I went from that to Joel, who we were like connecting spiritually.
but yours sounds
mentally.
like it wasn't. And I'm trying to figure this out for myself.
Yeah.
And I know for like the masses, I feel like a lot of it, when we're attracted to someone, it's coming from a childhood wound. Like I would be transparent since we're talking about transparency here. I'm wondering because he's not very present with me. Like sometimes I feel like I'm chasing.
Yeah.
And then when I pull back, he then, it's this,
And-
this push and pull.
And that's fairly familiar for many men. But I believe if a man is interested in you, he will show up for you and he'll be present with you. Some men today don't really chase anymore because they just have so many women to choose from.
And he's pretty.
That's
He's very attractive.
and that's what happens,
Yeah,
right?
he's super attractive.
When you find someone who's very stunning, a lot of women want him, right? And so I think that if that's the case, it's like you're sort of you're competing with all these other women.
I'm like, you got to know what it comes with type of thing.
So, but
I hate
for
that.
you, if he's, and the one thing I will say, and that's the one thing with Joel's very present, and that's one thing I really respected about him. I always felt like when we were on a call or we were, whatever, he was like with me, and that is priceless. I'll take
That's
that
priceless.
over,
Yeah.
I think I have a famous quote on valuetainment, presence over penis, like any day. And I had
Say it again.
presence over penis any
Yes,
day. And I
for
had
sure.
to me, probably my perfect match sexually with Isaiah, but he didn't have that presence. He didn't have that emotional, that mental, that spiritual, that energetic connection. And you're a multidimensional woman, so you need those things.
100%.
And so if someone's not giving you presence, you got to drop the bad habit. And
Ooh,
you
baby, it does feel like a drug every so often.
it is a
I'm
drug,
like,
and I don't
why?
do drugs, so I don't really understand what the drug means. But I know that it's a feeling that you get, and people like that because it gets them out of their body, out of their head, and gets them free. And so I say, if the drug is something you could use recreationally, then you could use it. But if it's not, and if you really want to attract and call in your partner, your person, your forever love, then you have to drop the bad habit. You have to drop the trauma, because we're creatures of patterns, right? And our patterns will either fuck us or they will fuel us. And most of the time, they're just fucking us, and we're just stuck in the same pattern loop, and we don't know how to get out, because for you, it is meeting some kind of need for you. Whether it's the need of you, craving your father's attention and you never got it, or whatever the childhood trauma was, right? And that's what you're seeking in men. You're like, ooh, I need to feel that feeling again of feeling unchosen, unloved, and unwanted, and a pick-me feeling, because that's what you felt as a child. So that felt like home to you. Remember, we always go home, no matter if that home is a good home or a bad home.
And I'm not a male-centered woman
I
either.
don't see
So
that.
it just feels like out of pocket for me, because I'm like, you out of all people, like,
And
I don't even like people like that. So it's like when I like someone, I'm
no,
like,
you seem very you also seem like you're very intelligent, you're intellectual, you're studying psychology. So you have a mental side of you that needs stimulation, and you're a strong woman too. You could be perceived as masculine at times because you are
I
very
get told I'm intimidating all the time.
Yeah, I could see that. I was choosing my words very careful here. But so for you, you do need someone who's highly present, because his presence will take you out of that and will soften you. And so if you're chasing someone who's not that, then you're stuck in the loop of being the masculine.
Ooh, that's something to sit with.
Yes. I know, yeah. And it's not like, maybe it's not going to hit overnight, maybe
No, I
it's
noticed
just
the pattern. I definitely, like, I talk with my friends a lot. I just got into like an intense form of breath work. Like,
which one?
I don't even know what it's called. I
Okay.
did an episode with her. Shout out to Maggie.
Okay.
And we just do a shitload of shrooms.
Okay. Oh
And
shit. Okay.
like when I say the
Okay.
first time I did it, I feel like I experienced every emotion on the human spectrum. Like I went from freezing to sweating to crying to laughing to like I'd never experienced something like that before, and it's tingling in my fingers. Like I don't know how to describe it. I have no idea what it's called. I need to look back at the episode that we
It's
did.
okay.
But
There's so many, so yeah.
yeah, so it's like I have been having like downloads and like revelation on why I do certain things or cycles that I'm in, and being clear on like what I want or saying what I don't want out of the fear of feeling like I'm not going to get what I want, you know,
Yes.
those types of
Yeah,
things.
no, it
And
makes sense.
when it comes to men, it's just I've been so confused. I grew up in a Pentecostal Christian
Same.
home, and I got the purity ring. I did all the things.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've been quite confused on like I've hidden a lot of like my sexual desires. Like I feel guilty when I have sex with someone that is I'm not in a relationship with.
I went through that as well, and that's why when I found Tantra, that went away. Because I really, and that was the memo that I wanted to push to the masses, is that your shame and your sexuality is killing you and killing your relationships.
Ooh.
Because shame, as we know, is the lowest vibration. It's the lowest frequency on the planet. It's lower than hate. It's lower than anything you can think of. And so when you have that in your body, stuck in your body immediately shuts down when there's sex, when there's anything intimate, or and also if you think about your body being like tainted, like I'm not married, so I'm committing a sin, and that's the thought that goes in your mind. I'm having premarital sex. Trust me, been there, done that, wrote the book about it, right? The first chapter. It's literally like a cigarette killing you. Because every time you're like, shame, your body starts to shift into a dis-ease phase. And disease is just the body in dis-ease. And that's when we talked about this on Mr. Organic's show. We talked about the bacteria vaginosis and what that is. I believe that's just shame. It's shame and trauma manifesting in the body. It could be also an imbalance in you're not supposed to be with that person energetically, and kind of like what you're saying, you know it, you feel it, but you still do it. And if it's a no for you, if it's a no in here, your body's gonna show you, oh yeah, here's the no, right? Here's the BV. But if it's a yes, and I tell the story of this guy that I was seeing when my son was really young, and you know, my son was young, I'm a single mom, I'm having postpartum, I'm like starting my like over after being trafficked, I'm like trying to figure out like, what do I do? Like, how do I take Tantra and make money out of it? You know, I didn't have an education, I didn't have a resume, for 10 years, I wasn't, quote, working. I was working, but nothing I could put on a resume, right?
Yeah.
So it was very scary time. And this guy, I met him in Whole Foods, there you go, if you want to meet a partner who's conscious. He did all the same stuff I did with eating. He was practicing semen or tantric retention. He was, you know, detoxing and energetic. And he was a little even more far out as I was in regards to some of his thinkings of conspiracy stuff. But it's still, our values are more aligned. So we started seeing each other. And he would come over and, you know, we had a good rapport and we did have some shared values, but he was very open that he was still seeing his kid's mom. And for me, it was a no, even though tantrics do practice open relationships to help diminish their ego. For me, it was a no because I was wanting support at that moment. I wasn't wanting to work on my ego. I was just trying to survive in those moments. So I kept engaging with him. I kept sleeping with him. And over time, I would get BV. I would just get these it would just come up. And there was like nothing I was doing wrong. There was everything, you know, it was just that. And when I finally made the decision to stop having sex with him, it just cleared up like almost overnight. It was just like.
So how does one decide that though? Like if we've heard the term digmatized.
Yeah. And
that can be mistranslated as you have an emotional connection with someone, but it's probably not that, or maybe those intertwine. From what I've seen, girls are crashing out because it's just like you're getting a feeling when that person gives you sex, but they do outside of that, they're not offering that. So
You mean outside of the sex? There's
outside
no
of, yeah.
emotional connection?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean...
So how does one decide, like, okay, this sex feels good, but they're not catering to my other needs, but, like, maybe I want to cater... Like you said, like, that wasn't what you wanted in that moment.
Yeah.
So how did you decipher, like...
I'm very intuitive. I mean, I'm a sexual energy master. I'm a healer, Reiki. I'm all the masters, if you will. I'm all the credentials, like you said. I went for them all. And I'm very hard on myself. I have a very high standard.
I feel that.
I do. My poor son.
I don't give any of these men grace. I'm like, if you breathe wrong, I'm over it.
But I have a high standard just for myself in my life.
Yeah.
The energy I keep, the company I keep, what I listen to. I'm not watching mainstream. I'm only listening to Abraham and high frequency music. Like, I don't listen to I only hear that music when I'm on social posting, because I just don't follow that. I don't follow the masses. I don't go to clubs. I don't drink. I have a very high standard. So if I have a high standard for my life, for my body, like, I'm not putting a tampon or a pad on my body. I'm not using a lube. I'm only using organic. I'm drinking my own urine. I'm drinking all my blood. You think if I have that kind of standard for my life in what I put in my inputs, I'm not going to have that standard for a man. So then it was like I had to kind of check myself and be like, Janelle, yes, you want the connection, you want the energy, you want what he brings, and that's great. But you know what? Get a friend, because this ain't it. Like, I knew my body was saying no, my mind was saying no, and I was still saying okay, yes.
Yeah.
So it's just like, do you have a higher standard for your life?
Well,
and I can't teach my clients this and then not have that same standard, right?
100%.
So it's like, that's leaders decide. They make a decision and they cut every desires of the Father. Decide is like to cut off. It's like you cut off. Latin is like you cut off anything else. So when you're more concerned, I talked about this on a couple shows. It's like, we won't share a toothbrush with someone. There's a big thing like, would you share a toothbrush with your boo, with your wife? Most people say hell no. Some people say, yeah, it's my wife. We're kissing, but most people are like, no. Won't share a toothbrush, but you'll let strangers inside of your yoni. Like, you're talking about your mouth,
yeah,
and then you're talking about the temple where God lives.
Right.
Like, seriously?
Yeah.
Like, why is that? This is fuckery.
Right.
And in this Miami culture, it's like everyone fucks around, everyone sleeps and smashes.
Yeah, it's play all day.
All day. But then it's like, what are you doing to your body, your temple, your energy bodies, your mental, your emotional, your spiritual connections? Even though you don't feel those body parts, those energy bodies, because you're numb, they still exist.
Right.
Right?
And then smacks people when it awakens. It's like an overwhelming. My therapist always like brings it up like a river dam. Like, when you're numb, the dam is backed up. Then you finally let it flow and it feels over. You're crying all the time. Like, it's an overwhelm. And then you just have to find your flow through the river. Like, I remember her telling me that from a long time. I definitely want to get into, and I know you talked about this on a couple shows, but the urine and the moon blood. Okay, because I know. Was literally
I don't understand why people are really fascinated with this.
So fascinated. Okay. For one, I just got told about, like, not just got told, I was familiar with it, but like diva cups. I've never tried a diva cup.
That's how I saw those on my story,
I've never really attempted to use one. And I was watching your stories and I was actually talking to someone in the gym about it. She was like, girl, you need to use that. And I was like,
yes.
I don't understand.
I don't understand. What is happening here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that what you use to hold
to collect
it?
Okay. Yes. So basically, I stopped using pads and tampons in 2012 when I attended my first Tantra training in my first Tantra workshop that led to my training in Thailand. So when I learned that, most people don't know this, but cotton is the most heavily sprayed, plant, fruit, vegetable, whatever. They spray cotton the most. So think about, they're putting Roundup Ready, which is strong enough to kill weeds and scare away critters.
Even when it says organic, no pesticides.
Organic just, no. That just means it's only sprayed about 70. So they can still spray it 30%.
Okay.
It's just sprayed 70% less. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's still being sprayed. They just, instead of like, they're saying, oh, we're going to do 100 power on non-organic, they're like, we're going to take it up for organic, a solid 70.
Interesting.
But you're still getting 30% of the Roundup. And then you're pushing that inside of your body, and it's going into your uterus, into your cervix, and up into the walls of your the uterine wall lining. It's the cotton attaches itself up in there. So we have women that, you know, come to the retreats. I do this whole long lecture about it. I sell them the moon cups. They throw away their pads. They throw away their tampons. Even organic is still sprayed. 10 years later, they're going up and for doing like they're cameraing, I can't think of the word, inside of them, and doing their yearlies, and they're still finding cotton in the walls of the cervix, in the walls of the, in the cervix, up in the walls of the uterus. They're finding the cotton still implanted from 10 years prior. So that means that those chemicals are stuck in your freaking uterus.
Yeah.
And that is what creates, like, how do you think we get cervical cancer?
Yeah.
Uterine cancer?
Okay.
Like, is this not, like, making sense? Do you see
no,
what I'm saying?
100%.
And so we have, like, I mean, it's so, yeah. So basically, I use the moon cup. And so I just insert it inside. And the moon cup is made with tree rubber, if you get the good ones. So it just sort of folds in. And then you just insert it inside. When you insert it inside, it's like it like opens up. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to sometimes adjust it a little bit, just like you would if you used
Does it stick out?
that a little bit, because so you can pull it out.
Oh,
And there's
okay.
little ridges on it so you can grip it. Because your yoni wall is there's a suction, especially if you have strong muscles like I do. It's suction, so you have to I just had the Femi lift twice. I have one more.
A what? A Femi?
The Femi lift, fireworks or something, right? I was like,
Miami's so crazy.
dude, for like, take me back to Newport. No.
So is there do you do this on every month
cycle
of your cycle?
Yeah.
And is there like, it's at the end of your period, it's every day of your
I do it.
menstrual?
Okay, so that's another thing. I think I don't menstruate a lot, not because of my age, and people are so stupid. You can be fertile well into your 50s if you are doing the right stuff, which is not being on birth control, not eating meat, dairy, alcohol, taking pharmaceuticals, drinking, stress, all those things. Mm-hmm. I've been checked. I am fertile as fuck still. The only thing they told me is you just have to manage stress and just from doing things. That's the one thing. That's the only thing that would fuck me. So these people that make all these comments like, you went through menopause. I'm like, you guys are stupid. Like, what? These people just have nothing. They just have no.
Or they always say like you have a higher probability of dying when you have a child at an older age.
I don't worry about any of those things because those people, they're talking about the standard American woman. There's nothing standard American about me in regards to the food I intake, the supplements I take, the practices I do, the energy work I do. I'm not the same. Put me next to any 40-year-old who is a standard American diet 40-year-old, and our lab work is different. Our everything is different. My vital energy is different. You know, because of my practices and because of what I do. So also if you had, my son I had when I was 33, almost 34. So when you have kids that late in life, they say it's actually quite easier to have more. Like the chances of you having more are high.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Or I had my son
pregnant again.
I had my son at 34. So they say 35. If you have your kid at 35 and over, the chances of you having another one or even older are very high.
You hear that, men?
Yeah.
I'm tired of the bullshit.
Yeah.
So how long is your period?
So, okay. So when I was in Thailand training and eating buckwheat and fasting and just in nature and doing 6 to 10 hours of hatha yoga a day and just in tune with my Shakti energy and not taking in any external nothing, I'm having a 2-day cycle. 2-3 day tops, and I'm having like this much in a moon cup now because I'm living in more not rural, more city. Even though I'm in Newport, it's still cars, this, that, concrete. There's not trees, grounding, ocean, even though there is the ocean, but there's everything else around it.
Yeah, all the things.
And,
Things.
Diet is not as clean as it was when I was training, and I'm not doing the 10 hours of hatha yoga because I actually have a child now and a business. So things have changed. So my cycle will go 3 to 5 days. I'm still typically, if I'm traveling, I'm going more like 5. But if I'm home and I'm doing my practices, I'm still 3, and I'll have 1 moon cup. That's it. So I just drink it.
So you accumulate it over the days?
No, that's just, like I'll have one, like on the first day, maybe I'll have is my quote full one, and I'll toss that. The second one is basically nothing. It's just starting to diminish and goes back into leucorrhea. So, but that's because I've worked to sublimate that energy, so that I put I basically take the moon blood, and because of my training muscles with the yoni eggs and the practices I do, I have a yoni egg in right now. I've had it in for all the podcasts. So imagine I'm sitting 4, 5, 6 hours, my yoni eggs. My yoni egg goes in when my contacts go in, and it comes out when my contacts come out, unless I flush it in a toilet, which I've done multiple times. So annoying. But I forget it's in. I'm like, damn it. But yeah, so that's the what did you ask about that?
You were taking them, like, is it a daily thing, or is it at the end of your cycle?
No, I take
and it's like a shot, like
it's just a shot. I put it, so it's probably that first day is the most, first 24 hours is the most moon blood I get. I'll take that. The next day, the next few days, it's not much. And like I said, it starts to sort of diminish into like more leucorrhea. So it's not blood, it's more like liquid, a lighter color. And that's on purpose. I want to have less blood flow and more blood energy back in the body versus it leaving.
What have you found from that? Like what?
I was talking about this, and that's a great question. Instantly, any symptoms that I might be having just go away.
Physical symptoms.
Yeah. Like typically, I'm not.
Like you'll have a headache and it'll just...
Basically, if I'm having... This is where it gets tricky, because when I travel, it throws things off. It's just hard hormonally, time zones. And if I'm not like stressed with a lot of things on my plate, I'm just having, a 3-day cycle with 1 moon cup. That's it. If it's vacillating and there's other life factors that are coming into play, say I'm having cramps or feeling tired or something, like cramps or a little bloated or a little tired, when I consume it, it just alleviates it on the spot. I feel energized. It stops, it actually lessens my cycle. And if you have a partner that you can have period sex with, that actually does the same thing. So
Really?
Yes.
My gosh, I'm so scared to do that.
Really?
I thought it was like a ceremony that like bonds you with this person. I mean, again, to what we were saying, like maybe you just gotta be the right person. But I had a prior friend that she was like, I'm gonna have sex. She was on her cycle. I'm gonna have sex with him, and he's gonna like be in love with me or whatever. I was like, and then she ended up like crashing out. And I was like, girl, I think it worked the reverse way.
Like, she ended up getting on him?
She was just like sprung. Like she had already been sprung, but like she was more sprung.
Yeah.
And I was like, girl, you're down bad right now. Like you're crying, you're throwing a fit. Like, it was just like a lot. And we had thought it was because of the cycle sex, but I was like, I don't know what that was.
You're like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
But your diet is very like, I understand, because my brain, and I think some of the fascination to it is like, when you go into a bathroom and women have their cycle, because of the smell.
Yeah.
So it's like for someone to body that, and it's, you know what I'm saying?
It's special. Also, I know that's been the biggest thing. Like, does it smell? And I'm like, no, it doesn't. You have to think what I just said I eat. I live off fruits and vegetables primarily. So my moon blood, I don't know what y'all's tastes like, because people are like, that's nasty. I'm like, maybe yours is. Yeah, because you're putting pharmaceuticals, this, meat, alcohol, the other. But mine doesn't. Mine tastes sweet.
Yeah.
And I'm not just saying that for a commercial. Like that's what happens. That's a fact. Now, if there's a time where I've been wilding out and I'm traveling and I'm eating kind of wild, then I'm like, I'm maybe not going to do it, because I'm like, okay, I don't know. Something within me is like, maybe I shouldn't do this, because maybe it's not that life-giving, because I've kind of been eating garbage. But like it shouldn't. And yes, there's a distinctive smell, but I think for myself, that because of my diet and my energy practice, it's not pronounced.
Right.
I don't know how to say.
No, I mean,
it's
based
hard
on
to
what
explain.
you just said, like,
yeah.
I mean, it's like, I don't know if this is the same correlation, but it's like body odor.
Yeah.
Like, you know
I
what
don't
I'm
wear
saying? Like,
deodorant.
I work out, I sweat,
Yeah.
I eat certain things. I know when I eat garlic, like my
Yeah.
sweat is gonna,
Yeah,
you know? So
yeah.
what you put in is what you get out.
Yes.
So what you're saying makes total sense.
Yeah.
And people don't want to take accountability for their lifestyle. They don't want to take accountability for who they're choosing.
Yes.
And all the other energetic factors that play into how your body secretes itself. So I think people just think it's strange because of them.
I think so too.
I don't know if I could chuck it up either.
Yeah.
But
it's conditioning, and I will say this because I do like being transparent. And I was talking with this doctor who drinks his urine, and there's his colleague also. They have all the white papers, the studies about how many stem cells you're flushing down the toilet. You don't drink your urine. It's insane. And if you age the urine for 30 days, it 10x is the stem cell component. So it's great for your skin and things like that, which I have aged urine at home. And I don't think I can fathom drinking it because it does get pretty pungent. Like when I drink my urine in the morning, it doesn't taste like anything. It's like water.
you do it every day.
If I'm rushing and stuff, no, because I need to make sure I have a clean cup. And like at the hotel, they haven't been, for some reason, they're not replenishing my damn cups. Like, give me my cups. I want to drink my urine. But like, what the fuck? Maybe I need to call them that, and then they will do it. Because this is strange. Like, she might pee on a towel or something. Let's just, you know. But like, so most times, yeah, it's every day. And so it doesn't taste like anything, I promise you. But the aged, like, it's pretty, it's pungent. So I'm just going to use it on my face and do a micro needling with the urine in my face. Or you can also douche with it. Yeah.
Okay. My brain is going somewhere else. I'm glad that we covered that. But something that I'm super curious about that is like, I
like, what is
always
happening?
tell people that if the man does not have a curved dick, I can't do it. Like, it just doesn't work for me. And
So it's
people are
not
like,
about size for you. It has to be curved.
I feel like you have to be of a certain size for it to curve.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you have to have a certain length for me to know that
That
it's
is
even
going.
going to bend to that capacity.
That is true. That's a very actually bold statement. But yes, yes.
So I learned that a couple years ago.
Okay.
And people always love to bring it to me, oh, well, what if you get your dream man and he has a straight dick? But I'm like, first of all, I don't feel like God would do that to me. Second of all,
You're like, God, why are you doing me like
I just
that?
know my anatomy, and
That's good,
have
'cause
been
most do
super blessed to be a woman that, like, I know what an orgasm. From a long time, when people tell me that when women tell me that they've never had an orgasm, I'm like,
I know.
poor baby.
It's very sad. You're one of the few. You're in the 1%, not 1%.
Yeah.
It's about 73% of women only climax through clitoris stimulation. Around 20-ish don't climax at all. And
Wow.
then that, between that 5 to 7, whatever percent it is, are women like you and I who can climax. And like for me, there's 11 forms of climax. And so this is the stuff I teach in my retreats and in my book, and I get into it. But yeah, but many women, that's not reality.
But does it have something to do with the anatomy of how your cervix is
No.
built? Like,
Nope.
am I just,
Your
we're
cervix-
everything is the same,
Your
like
cervix,
on all of us.
no, it's different, but that doesn't have anything to do with why you can climax or why you can't. Every woman can. Your cervix and your G-spot, I'm not sure what kind of climaxes you're having. It's probably positioned to where it's easier for a man with curve to hit it. And so you know that because you know your body and you've explored, and so kudos to you.
Thanks.
Most women don't know that, though. They're
Yeah.
not aware of that.
Yeah.
So for you, I would say I don't think that that's a bad thing to ask for, and this is my thing. Like, it's going to happen. I'm going to come up with a sexual compatibility. That's just what's going to happen. I'm like, I'm coming up with an app, but like, what is it? Like, Tantra's too broad. And there's astrology for dating. There's like numerology. I was just on Fresh and Fit, GG33 show. And his app is sick, and it really like lit a fire within me to like do mine, because I have the sexual archetype quiz that sees what type of sexual dominant archetype I abide in and what's good for you, and then what's good for your partner. So yeah, it's going to be the sexual compatibility app, because people are always asking me, does size matter? And then I take them through the Kama Sutra. This is stuff we go over in my retreat. And I explain to them like how it works, and that it's small, medium, and large for lingam, small, medium, large for yoni, and you have to have it paired right. But then it's like, how do you do that? And so then I'm like, well, you get a yoni wand for women and you measure. So I'm like, you know what? Like, I need to just come up with a sexual compatibility app for men and women that gives you the basis of everything that I teach, shows men and women how to attract and how to pair with the right person sexually, like that's compatible for them sexually.
But are these questions, so I have a list of questions that you guys sent to me that we'll get to.
Okay.
And I believe one of them was asking, do you think that people need to have conversation before they have sex? Or
Yes.
most people like it to happen
They don't.
organically, right? Like it just kind of happens through the attraction, through conversation, whatever the case may be. Do you think that there needs to be a prerequisite conversation? I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah.
I want the picture,
Yeah.
so I know what's going on.
No, I'm right there with you.
That's where the
sister.
conversation
I'm
starts.
I'm right there with you. I believe that if you can't talk about sex, you shouldn't be having it. And that is a big rule at our retreats and with all my clients. If you can't talk to your partner about sex, then you should not be having it.
What if it's not their partner, though?
Even about a future partner you want. I think you should share sexual compatibility up front and just be like, hey, I want to let you know, like, this is sort of, since we know that marriages end in divorce, it's a coin toss. We know that the number one reason that marriages end is for infidelity, and finances often intertwined, right? Interwoven, if you will. So we know that sexual compatibility is important. It does matter. Even though people say, oh, you need a best friend, you don't fuck your best friend. And that's a fact, right? You just don't. So I don't care about that.
I hope y'all not.
I think, yeah, I hope
I don't know what y'all doing
it's
over
weird.
there.
But I do think, yeah, it's nice if you can be friends and have shared values, but it's different. You need to keep some autonomy. You need to keep, like, I was just talking to Mr. Organico about this, and did I make him Spanish, Mr. Organico?
I think, like, briefly
Hola,
before.
Mr. Organico, dámelo, papi. You know, like, what did I just do?
I let you have it because I was like,
Look, Mr. Organic. I just like let it roll off my tongue. That's what she said.
so
but
funny.
but anyways, so yeah, like there needs to be, the conversations need to be had because we know that sex is, it's intricate, and it's an intricate part of our lives, and people get bored, and around here there's so much variety. It's like on to the next, and it's like if you don't have that narrowed down, if you don't know if you're compatible, like you're just wasting having sex with someone.
So should I just come out the gate like, is it curved or is it straight?
Yeah, I would just say, like, this is what I would say. Hey, like,
that's usually how
you know,
I do
I've
it.
been on this planet, I don't know, are you 30? Are you in your 30s?
I'm 29, yeah.
Okay, so, yeah, I've been on this planet almost 30 years. You know, I've discovered a lot of things about my body and about, like, what works for me sexually. And I do feel like we have some kind of connection here, but I want to make sure we're a good fit, both figuratively and literally. And so my preference, I'm so curious what your preferences are, what works for you in bed, and what things are you most attracted to? And as far as anatomy goes, like, have you found yourself being satisfied with your, like, ask questions. You get them talking, and then you tell them what works for you. It's not what you say it's how you say. And the more questions you ask, the more you understand what works for them. Does that make sense?
Yes, that totally makes sense.
And yeah, I think it's important. I'd like to see the picture too. I want to know what I'm fucking getting into.
For sure.
Because it's not worth it for
People
me.
always are like, I would never. Well, you are not getting to the prerequisites.
A lot of these
if you're
women
wasting
are
your time or
probably
not.
just white women too. They've never been with, you know, like BBC, or maybe not here in Miami, because
Hello.
everyone's been with BBC here. It's like the theme. But do you know what I'm
No, it
saying?
really is. Yeah.
Like, they don't understand. They've just had vanilla, like small lingam sex their whole life. So they're like, as long as he has a credit card, I'm good.
Yeah.
But for someone like yourself and myself, like, sexual compatibility is very important to me.
Yeah, 100%.
And, you know,
I
like,
just know it's not gonna work. Like, it's just how I am. Like,
for me, it's like, yeah, that's very important. Do I want someone who can provide and all those things? Yeah, but I'm making my own money, and
Yeah,
I know
that's a given.
I
I
know
feel like
for
that's a
my
given.
numerology that the next few years for my life is going to be insane monetarily wise. All my numerologists told me in my early 40s, I'm going to amass all my wealth. I've always known this. It's just been annoying to have to wait this long.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm a 1, and this is just, and I'm a rooster, and this is just how. It's the year of the snake now, so if you're a snake, they're good for you, good on you. But yeah, so I do think that these conversations need to be had. Most people never have them. That's why they're sexually not fulfilled, and they're not happy with their relationships. They're always wanting to fuck the next broad or the next guy, or, You know,
Do you think there's like a too early to have that conversation? Do you think that it should happen when you perceive that it could be happening like
I think
later
so.
on in that moment, or like when is too early, or is there a too early?
Because this is like a new concept talking about sexual sizing and pairing, it's so challenging to say do this because I don't want to tell anyone to do something that is going to, you know, backfire on them. But I think that you should have these conversations early on. Most people aren't waiting that long to have sex unless you're deeply religious. They're smashing on the first or second night, and not a word, not a thought, not here's your STI results, not what do you need a condom? What kind of are you allergic to those condoms? Are you allergic to the lube? No one fucking says shit. It's just like you get what you take. Here's what we're serving. This is chemical laden lube and chemical laden condoms that are going to irritate you and break you out. Let's have fun. It's just like that's what's happening.
Yeah.
You know?
I never even thought about that.
Yeah,
I mean, I have my own everything, so I just be
you just
readily
like,
prepared.
You have it on tap, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, but most people go to the bar and they're like, we'll serve the well drinks, you know,
Yeah.
the generic, we'll take the generic alcohol.
So
It's like,
essentially, as soon as you're considering it.
I think you should.
Right.
I think you should just like, hey, I like you. I'm vibing. I feel like this might go somewhere, and I don't know. Maybe it's premature, but like, can we talk? Are you opposed? Always ask questions. Are you opposed to us having a conversation about sex? It feels like I trust you enough to go there, so I'd like to talk before we go there.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, for real.
You know?
And anyone
who says no, you don't want
Yeah,
them
you're
inside of you
already
anyway.
wrong.
You don't want them inside of you anyway.
Yeah. I want to also
You get to test drive the car before you buy it.
Hello. I want to get into kinks and like fetishes.
It's a hot topic.
Yeah, so I was having a conversation earlier, and I've had it for the past couple years about specifically like when it comes to like verbal.
Yes.
When it comes to like the spectrum of like, oh, you dirty slut, like smack me,
Yeah.
you know, golden shower type of situations.
For a guy or for a girl?
For women.
For women saying this to men or men saying
Women
this?
wanting men to say it to them.
Okay.
And then the other side of like, you're a goddess, you're doing such a good job, good girl.
Sexually,
like,
okay.
What is that about?
Sexual archetypes. This is what my quiz, you can take my free quiz and it'll tell you which one. It's shadows within your sexual archetypes. So men and women both have 4 main dominant sexual archetypes that are based on their first 4 chakras, their energy centers. And they correlate with the elements earth, water, fire, air. So for the men, there's 4. For the women, there's 4. You're going to be naturally predisposed to one of those most of the time. Doesn't mean you only do that. You'll experiment. We all do. But for the majority, this is safe for you. The fetishes are, quote, shadows in the archetypes. So for the, like, you know, smack my bitch up, that kind of freaking, you know, this kind of fetish, that's the 3rd chakra archetype, the 3rd archetype. That's, you know, the slay for women, slay queen for women. It's a shadow on the archetype of fire, of this fiery, passionate, you know, dominant woman. And in that archetype is a shadow, and that shadow is that aggression, that feeling, not abused, but feeling that pain with the pleasure.
Does
that
it have anything
BDSM.
to do, like with our childhood though? Like, does it have a correlation to like father relationships, or?
I think it has a few things.
When it
I
comes
think it's
to women?
Astrological stuff, how you were born. I don't fully understand the nuances of numerology with it, but I'm going to get into that more. But definitely astrological stuff, predisposition of what your sign is, your body type, and what you're more turned on by. Then also, traumas and things that your first sexual experiences shape and mold your intimate sex life forever. Whether it was wanted, unwanted, masturbation, losing your virginity, like all of those things matter. People just don't think they matter. It's like, oh, my first one was terrible, and then I banged the whole school. It's like, that stuff matters. It's an imprint. It's sort of a blueprint on your sexual stamp card, if you will. And that's always there, and it follows you unless you do sexual healing work with me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
So people that have...
There was a couple of people asking me about like, if you want someone to spit in your mouth, or I don't know if that's considered a fetish or a
It's very...
kink. I honestly don't know the difference between a fetish and a kink.
I think they're close, like they're close cousins. Like, I think it's just different terminology from what I understand, but that is just very primitive tribal stuff. So that's all first chakra, first archetype, savage and shaman for the men. So it's like this raw tribal instinctual savage kind of, unrefined sexual behavior. And that's just, they're more predisposed to that first sexual archetype and that shadow. The spitting is more extreme. So that's definitely going to be, it's just like a raw instinctual kind of thing where, BDSM, that's third chakra, that's third archetype. They're all just correlated with your main sexual archetype, what you're predisposed to want.
So are any of these things like spells? Like, can these things, like, if someone spits in your mouth, you are now more prone to be attached to them because you let them do that?
Mr. Organic was talking about this. He was talking about he enjoys like this anal play, licking.
Oh, getting his ass ate.
But nothing else. No fingers and no toys,
I didn't even get there, darn it. He got to it before
so
me.
he likes that. And he said he likes having women do that because it does get them addicted to him. Because it's like, wow, he let me do this very deeply raw kind of, again, this primitive, the anus is connected to the first chakra. So it's very like primitive, raw, tribal, savage kind of vibe, which is indicative of first chakra, first archetype. So for sexual archetype. So that's definitely, that's on that. That's that energy. And yes, it can be. I think it's all about how you make a woman feel. There's an energetic exchange if you're having vanilla sex or if you're having like, slap you around, spit in your face sex. It's all still an energy exchange, and it can make a woman addicted, or it can. It just depends on if she's climaxing with you. Those types of things that are more like raw and primitive and very intimate, I do think it's not really a spell, but it does make women feel more connected to you. So then, of course, if a woman feels more connected to you, she's going to feel more attracted to you, and she's going to, stalk you a little.
Yeah.
As far as spells, I don't think people are advanced enough to do those things unless they're like myself, like practicing white tantra, white magic. There is a field of black magic, black tantra, but our school does not fuck with it. We don't condone it. We don't teach it. We don't even talk about it because we don't even want that energy like remotely attached to us. Mm-hmm. But for the everyday person, they can't cast a spell. No.
Okay.
They can't even cast a spell to keep their dick in their pants or to close their legs. Like, they're not casting any spells to like keep you addicted to them.
You mentioned clitoral stimulation, right?
Yes.
And masturbation. So do you think that like you can get addicted to masturbating? Like, is there...
For
can that
women
be-
or men? Or obviously
Both.
for men. Men, for sure. Men are addicted to porn, and they're addicted to jerking off because it's a subconscious programming that has sort of warped their mind into believing that the way they get aroused and the way they climax is through these scenes on these pixels online and through this self-pleasure, solo masturbation, if you will, solo pleasure. And because a lot of these men don't want to get rejected, because rejection hurts more than being alone. And so a lot of these men, right? These men are like, I'd rather just be solo, turn on porn, jack off. I don't have to have any interpersonal relationships. I don't have to have any intrapersonal relationships with myself. I can just be at home and masturbate.
Off. Yeah.
And so it's just a lack of self-confidence. It's a lack of intrapersonal relationship skills. Is the lack of self-control. It's the lack of discipline. It's sad. This to me is very sad because you're so fixated on something that's not even real. Those are actors.
So is it different for women?
It's different for women. Sadly, the stats on women consuming porn are almost as high as men now. Men, I don't think the duration.
Man, that rose is getting killed. People are killing the rose.
I heard about this, and I heard someone was saying,
real.
Mr. Organic was telling me about it. He was saying that it's been linked to like infertility and things like that. I was like, I have to check that out because I don't know about
I don't know about that.
I don't know about all
but
that.
I know people are saying like you can break your clit if you like abuse it.
Really?
Not like, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
The stimulation can understand. Like men are saying that by using that, of course, they're not going to be able to pleasure us
that's
because
true.
you're abusing
Well,
this part of your body.
I've been teaching that for a decade now. Like, throw your vibrators away. The only time if you want to use a vibrator, just put it in your booty. Otherwise, trash it. Because
No way.
Yeah, vibrators are killing the game for the men that do still want to fuck us, that haven't turned trans, that haven't turned gay. It's like, what the?
Okay, but why put it in your ass?
Because like some people like anal stuff, hence my viral post at 10 million. Like, women like anal. Some of them don't know they like it, but they do. And so I don't mind if you use a vibrator in your booty, but don't put it in your yoni. It is desensitizing you. It is making it impossible for.
But what about just putting it on your clit?
For the average person, yeah. I don't do clitoral stimulation or clitoral. Now that I have like evolved my practice to what it is, and I do call it a practice, I can do blended. So I can do clitoral and insertion of either my finger or my guy's lingam or whatnot. And it's okay because I rewired my brain to only have internal climax. I did that in Thailand in my training.
Wow.
So we completely remove the clit off the table. Like, it's just not like, it's like pulling alcohol out of your diet. You just pull the clit out of your diet. Like, you just don't fuck with it because you have to retrain your brain, because most women are only trained for clitoral stimulation and pleasure. So when you bring in the vibrator, it's just annihilating any chance you have of actually achieving climax on your own. And your poor guy, bless his heart, he is,
Bless that boy's heart.
like, his lingam isn't doing that.
Yeah.
He's not performing that way.
And then you're blaming him.
And you're blaming him. He's like, bitch, don't stick things in your yoni
you're
with
just
360
zapping yourself all
degrees
night.
horsepower. Like,
Yeah.
give these men a fighting chance.
Yeah.
So I'm team no vibrator. Like,
Okay.
Through and through. I believe it is a disservice to your yoni, to your pleasure, and to your man.
Okay. And is there such thing as too much sex?
And there's such thing as too much anything without conscious alignment. So if you're not, so for the average person, yes, there's such a thing as too much sex. For the tantrics, we use sex to go beyond sex. We use sex to go to God. So for us, the more sex we have, the closer we get to God. The deeper, more intense climaxes we get, and we are able to find that ultimate union, which is when we go beyond the polarity of masculine and feminine energy, and we find that godlike consciousness of oneness when we don't have a name, we don't have a sex, we're just one. And that's what everyone's really searching for. Every time you want sex, you want a climax, you crave your partner, you're just craving God.
Wow.
Godlike oneness, godlike consciousness. And so for the average person, yeah, you can have sex too much because it's just pleasure, pleasure, pleasure. The Buddha said what? All pleasure is eventually choked by pain. So if you're having sex without sublimation, which is a tantric term that just basically means taking lower energy and pulling it up to higher chakras, higher energy, then yeah, you're joining its red tantra. Red tantra is just being good at sex.
Wow. Okay. I know I'm backtracking a bit, but I want to get more clarity on, okay, if someone's having a lot of sex, how does one decipher if it's out of like a shame place, out of like just wanting to be promiscuous because that's what he or she knows from maybe like an abuse situation,
yeah.
Or if they're just looking to explore, and like they grew up in a Christian home and they just feel bad about both of them.
Yeah.
What do you recommend for that situation?
Yeah, I mean, I think, do some work with me or someone who does my work, because your beliefs are the hardest thing to shift.
Right.
Your beliefs are, your values and beliefs are personal to you. And you were conditioned partially because your parents conditioned you to believe a certain way. And so because of that conditioning, you basically believe the way you believe or feel shame because you don't believe the way that they told you to believe, correct? So with that being said, when you're talking about like conditioning and beliefs and values and shame around sex, you have to understand that it doesn't just go away. You don't just wake up one day and just say like, oh, I'm not shameful anymore when I have sex. No, those beliefs, those values stay with you till you die, unless you reprogram, rewire, reboot those synapses that connect and told you those things. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So in order to do that, that's why my book is called Unfuck Your Sex Life. It's an unfucking of everything you've ever known, believed to be true about your sexuality and your sex life. And so that's not an easy ask, right? That's not like an overnight, you're like, oh yeah, I'm cured. Like most people, here's what I always say, like, how do you want to know if you're really sexually free? Mm-hmm. Could you have sex in a church?
No, I couldn't do that.
Right? You said, no, I couldn't do that.
I feel like I would want to, but I would feel bad after.
There you go. It's still in you.
Yeah.
It's still deeply embedded in you. Mm-hmm. You know? Could you like have sex and not be ashamed that other people saw? So these types of things, can you have sex and in the moment of sex feel nothing but pleasure, no pain, no shame, and in the moment after sex, no pain, no shame? Even
so
when
is that
the person
what, like, orgies
leaves.
are about? Or like what is that's where my brain went.
I'm not like telling people to have orgies. Like,
no,
not
at all.
I'm just
but
like
is
I
that
teach
like a
white
sense of
tantra.
freedom?
It's just the
feel
idea,
like?
even if you don't want to do it. Like everything I teach is of spiritual truth and divine alignment. I don't teach swingers. I teach white tantra. A lot of the tantrics out there do teach red, and that's just pleasure and sex parties and all this weird ditty stuff. And I don't teach that. Like I'm very much so the path of evolution. That's why I said it's a personal development, spiritual path to reach the ultimate union that balances sexual polarity and keeps the sexual attraction alive.
Wow.
And that's different than what most people say. Like I'm going to teach you this sexy move. I teach you first to love your body, to not be ashamed of the body you're in, to not be ashamed of your yoni, of your lingam, to talk to it, to engage with it, to pleasure it, to worship it, to worship your yoni, to worship your lingam. I teach lingam and yoni worship, like these types of things, right? These concepts that most people can't even fathom. Wait, you're going to worship your sexual organs? Yeah. That's where God lives. Why would I not?
They're life-giving.
Right? Like I'm going to worship, like I love lingam worship. I love just getting down on the ground and like worshiping the lingam in front of me. It's like a statue of God incarnate. It's like the power, the ultimate power of the universe that brought the whole, world into existence. It's like it's the pillar of truth. It's all consciousness, all knowingness. It takes you to God in those moments of climax if you really go there. So why would I not want to honor, worship, and respect that? And that's the problem. We don't see sex that way. Mm-hmm. We see it, like, think of any strip club you've been to. Is it in the light? No, it's in the dark. Always.
Every time. No.
There's not like you're a strip club where it's like, oh, this is good lighting in here. No. They want, ooh, good selfie. No. It's
Never.
like low, dim lights. If you go to the red light district in Amsterdam, it's the same way. I've been there. It's low. The vibration is so heavy. It was like had to leave. I couldn't be there. Wow. It was so immense. So it's like everything that's done in the light is done in the light of Christ, the light of the divine. It's the truth, the way, the truth, the life.
Yeah.
But that's not how we see sex.
So can sex be this way and still be, from everything I've learned from you, I'm just wanting to share it, can it still be casual, or is there a specific container that type of consciousness, that type of relation needs to be held in? Or can that be a casual thing as long as you, I guess, vet the partners? This
topic is tough because I am very conservative, even though maybe it doesn't seem I am. I'm very much so for the family dynamic. I believe in the masculine and feminine balance roles in relationships, intimacy, and sex. I love the family unit. I want to see that thrive. So in a world of casual sex where everything's casual, it's often hard to cultivate intimacy because in casual sex typically is just that. It's like, it's sex. And then you go about your life. There's no commitment to you. He doesn't have to call you. He doesn't have to text you. It's nice if he does, but there's no obligation. Why? Because it's casual, right? So it's like there's no commitment. And typically, if there's no commitment and it's casual, there's no depth. So if there's no depth, you can't create union. You can't create intimacy, right? I would be lying if I said like there can't be consciousness in casual sex, but I don't recommend having it simply because look around, like what
see out here.
and what's happening with women is, and studies in your field kind of share that, is that the more sexual partners a woman has, the harder it is for her to pair bond with a spouse in the future, and the more dissatisfied she is sexually, and that's sad, right? Because you have these women that they get taken off the market, they get married, they get the ring, they get the dog, they get the Range Rover, they get the whatever, the house, and then they want to leave their husband. They're bored or they want to cheat because they're so used to the casual, the hookup, the validation. It's not real. They don't want to go.
That doesn't go for men.
That doesn't go for men. Men are very interesting. Sex to even think about fostering intimacy, and women need intimacy to even think about having sex. So we have two polarizing conflicts of interest, if you will. For men, their anatomy, their sexual anatomy is external. If a man has sex with you 100 times, it just means he has sex with you 100 times. It does not mean he loves you. If he kisses you on the forehead, it just means that there's an affinity for you, but that's it. Oftentimes there's zero emotional connection there. It's just men are just wired so differently.
So how do you know, man?
It's very hard, and especially because guys are doing whatever it takes to get laid today. Because you know they want that sexual energy. They need that sexual energy, and so if it means brushing you on the head, kissing you on the forehead to keep the sex, you know, what do they say? Why would you buy the milk? Why would you buy the cow when you get the milk for free?
Yeah.
They don't have to invest. They don't have to put time, resources, energy. So they'll just keep continually getting what they can get by feeding you, like breadcrumbing you just a little bit, just enough to make you think, oh, he really likes me. No, he doesn't. Not that he dislikes you, but there's no emotional attachment there. It's very rare that men get emotionally attached during sex. If they do, typically they want to lock that down with that person, because for men, emotional connection, it's big, right? Where for women, we get emotionally connected almost right away, especially if they've given us one or two good climaxes, it's over. And then we're sort of stuck on stupid, right?
Yeah, for real.
We will stop
Been
it.
there,
We'll
did
do
it.
wherever, because we're like, fuck, we need more of that. Like our body craves more of that. Our mind, our emotion, we think that's love. It's not love. It's just really good sex. And there's those chemicals. They're chemicals, right? Dopamine, oxytocin, feel good. Woo, we need more of those. And for men, they're just like, that was a nice time, but let me go back.
So how does one decipher like when someone's emotionally connected or when they're just trying to get laid?
I would say things like you'll be able to see characteristics of men who want more from you than just sex, right? Men that take an interest in your life when they're not with you. Men who, when they are with you, they are present and nothing else takes them off, not sexually. They're just present with you. And nothing else can distract them when they're with you because they're emotionally connected to you and they want to dive deep with you. Men that will do more than just the status quo of movies, and like they want to do things to grow and build together, whether it's learning a new this, discovering a new hobby, like doing things that build sexual polarity, build energy, and also build rapport with one another. Things I would often say, now it's hard in this day and age because there's people that teach manipulation tactics for women, so it's very challenging. That's why discernment is very useful. And always go with, I would say, like, if you know thyself first, if you really start to know thyself, yourself, you'll start to be, because women are very intuitive if we allow ourselves to be, you'll start to feel intuitively what's happening. For me, I'm so intuitive. I know oftentimes I'm like, I wish I wasn't. I wish I couldn't read energy from a text. I wish I didn't know he was lying. All these things, right? Because it makes it much more
Ignorance is
challenging.
bliss. Let me
Correct.
tell you.
In this
Sometimes
area,
I say I'm overwhelmed by self-awareness. Like, I'm
yes.
like, this
So,
consciousness is overwhelming.
I think it's like, is he present with you? Is he interested in, protecting you in some regard? Is he wanting to provide, even if it's little things now? Like, you can get cues from a man that show that he is not just in it for the body, that he's in it for the emotional, the mental, the energetic connection, right? And then how he treats, is he actively wanting to get to know you, get to know your family, your children? Booty calls and things like that, so casual sex, you're not involving family and kids. Does that make sense? So I think the deeper investments and in the things of being protected, provided, present, all these things will help you decipher if this person is in it or if they're just trying to hit it, right? So it is, I would say today it's more challenging than ever before because of all the pod stuff.
I fight for my life during ovulation week. Fighting for my life.
Fight for my life out here.
Like,
it's hard. It is hard.
It's
Because
so
you just want to
hard.
call fucking anyone. You're
Hello?
like, oh shit. I'm like,
I feel like I need to be put in a cage.
it's
I'm
hard.
like-
But that's good. Your hormones are, strong. There's someone
grateful
who
for it, but
they don't feel
man.
that at all.
Between, not trying to use the vibrator and not trying to go towards the wrong person, I'm like, I don't want to shame myself.
No.
for feeling this thing. I'm also like, I don't know how to get it out.
I also think that
I
there's
know my body's doing what it's supposed to do. But
yeah, well, you can use the yoni wands, which are crystals, and these are the stuff I sell in my shop. So it's just crystals. The crystal is charged with the vibrations like rose quartz, love, surrender, open, all these things.
you put it on yourself.
Yeah, you put it in you. So it's a
Oh.
crystal yoni wand.
Oh.
So it's like a vibrator or dildo, but without the on and off, and it's made out of crystals. So amethyst, rose quartz, different.
Interesting.
So those things you can use. I think also you can develop. I say this very cautiously because I've done it before as well. You can miss your Mr. Right and your forever love while you're stuck in what feels good now.
Ooh.
So that's the only thing I would say. You can find an arrangement. You can find someone who will, probably sleep with you and it's regular and like he's probably not stepping out, or if he is, he's hopefully wrapping it up. And that can help you satisfy that sexual energy. But I would say if you're like hungry for the one, then sometimes that energy might block the one.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
Yes, I have someone that I'm like, you're in the way of my husband and
Yes.
my soulmate. Like, I'm 90% sure. I've said that about him for years.
And you know this.
And
to
I
be
know
true.
it. And I don't know what fantasy I've created around him, but it's literally a fantasy. It's a delusion. But it's been so hard for me to let go of. But I quite literally feel like once I energetically, emotionally, sever that
And you
tie,
should do
I
some cord cutting and things like that.
Yes, that's what
Next
it feels
time,
like.
I don't have all my stuff, but we could do one on camera.
Oh my
for
gosh,
you.
I would love that so much.
Yes.
I would love that.
I would say
so
next
much.
time let's do that. I can do some body work on you and
Love that.
yes.
Am I gonna get emotional on camera? Probably.
Yes.
'Kay.
Yes. But let's set up for that next
I would
time.
love that. Yeah, I have a setting for it and
Okay.
everything.
Do you really?
Yeah,
Okay,
different
let's
setting.
do it. I would love to do that.
I would love to do that
Yes.
too.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
I need to write it down on my phone.
Yes, please
Okay.
do that.
What is this called?
It's my own tantric energy work, but it's just my own tantric body work. So it's my
Like cord cutting though? Is
the
it-
cord cutting. Yes, the cord cutting is super useful. Hi, Princey, we're almost done. The cord cutting is very useful. It's very powerful, and if you really want to axe that, cord cutting works.
I'm so serious.
I have clients that I do it
I've
with,
called
and-
people like, how do you sever a soul tie? Like, this just feels like
Cord
too
cutting.
much.
Cord energetic cutting. We'll probably have to do a few rounds on you, but we can do it.
Oh my gosh, I would love that.
We can do it for sure. Next time, I'm gonna come next time with all my toys.
She'll be
My
back.
yoni wands, my yoni eggs, my sage, my incense, all this stuff to do cord cutting, and my
Oh my
cellophane
gosh,
wand,
I
all
would
that.
love that.
So
That would be
then,
amazing.
yeah, I think that next time I want to come and do a bodywork session with the people that I come on with. That'll be fun.
That would be
Just
phenomenal.
moving. Yeah.
Before we go, I have two
Yes.
more things.
Yes.
Erectile dysfunction.
Okay.
Is there a spiritual, like, or is that just like a physical, like, dysfunction?
Yeah.
Or is there a spiritual background to that?
The ED is can manifest. It does manifest basically for every man at least once in their life. So it is an anatomical component of just being a man, and sometimes your lingam just doesn't work. Mostly, it's stress and hormones are the main things. Stress will kill an erection before it starts, and it literally does. And then you have things like an imbalance of estrogen, which makes the testosterone drop, and you need healthy testosterone to create the vital energy to even think about getting the erection. So those are probably the main components. Other things would be things like depression, SSRIs, and that medication affecting it, affecting sex drive, erectile function and quality of the erection, things like that. Other things too, diet, a lot of other things. It's so hard to say. But I would say it is an energetic thing, because if you have a strong vira, strong root chakra energy, then you're not going to have any erection problems. So if I'm training a man, I'm having him work on his root a lot. I'm having him do things that build vital energy, like being in nature, sitting on the ground with your ass and perineum touching the earth. That's doing that. Working on testicle massage, pushing the perineum, peeing and stopping, all those things that sort of build that control and mastery. And so erectile dysfunction is definitely, it's physical, but it also is energetical. I made up a word. Energy is both. It's both. I do that when I get tired. I just start making words. Energetical. As far as spiritual, what do you mean by that exactly?
So I've been told, for like a background on asthma, that there's like
Oh yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Like Louise Hay, Why People Don't Heal, like her work. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but
I've just done my Googleables.
Yeah, you should check in your stuff, especially if you're going to do psychology and things.
Yeah.
So Why People Don't Heal, there's always for every ailment, there's basically some energetic principle that goes with that. So
Right.
for instance, if you're having eczema, they say that's really, it is an inflammation thing in the body and the diet. And Kim Kardashian has it. She's shown stuff, and it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it is.
But it's like your body's heating up within. It's an anger thing. So what are you angry about? What are you having this aggression towards? And once you process that, the eczema will diminish. So things like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of conversation around like PCOS, eczema, asthma,
all
ADHD.
those things. Yes.
I've seen a lot of conversation around it.
Yeah, so it would be safe to say that there's also an energy component with erectile dysfunction, being that it's so rooted and closely. I don't think Louise Hay covers that, but I could go back and see. I've never seen it, but it's so correlated with the root, with the first chakra or archetype. I would say it has to do with things like safety, security, feeling like Maslow's hierarchy. It's like your level 1 needs aren't met. So an imbalance that, like bare needs, survival, security, financial stability, all those things. So that would be like the energy component of why you're having ED in the first place, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah.
I was just curious because, I mean, it's been like if you're older, Viagra, but I really do my best to make a comfortable, safe space for men.
Yeah.
And I have homeboys that have expressed like, I'm 33.
Yeah.
Or, and they're just like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what is, or I've even experienced it myself. I mean, this man wasn't transparent with me, but I was like, I mean, are you on steroids? Like, I just didn't understand what was going on.
And
like,
I
you
think
just couldn't stay. You just couldn't stay. And it was like, you asked me.
Yeah.
I thought you were ready. I didn't understand it at the time. I was super young, but he was a young boy.
That's tough. It's also tough because the more questions you ask, the worse it makes it for them.
Yeah, 100%. He blamed it on me. I was like,
well, that's not fair either, because he blamed it on you.
He told me that my butt wasn't big enough and that I gave him too much masculine energy.
This guy has some challenges to work through. It's a piece of work. So yeah, as I said, it happens to every man at least once in their life.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, when it happens, women aren't prepared. Maybe I should do a whole series on this. What
Please.
to do when your man is, is having issues. I think I will do a whole series on that. That'll be interesting. Like how to solve this when this happens, maybe real life.
Especially
like
when
what
you're
to
married.
do. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I have to write that down because that'll be a great one. So
Yeah,
it's
for
obviously
sure.
not you. It's very rude for him to say that. I'm sorry that happened to you, and then that creates something in you subconsciously. Even if you shook it off, it still went in. So it's like you have to
On a masculine,
delete.
when he said the
and-
masculine energy part, that stuck with me for a long
Yeah.
time. That's something that I'm consciously working through. Like I'm figuring that out even currently.
Yeah.
But my butt being small is kind of crazy.
That's weird because I
Please.
didn't really look at it, but you looked like you had a booty like when I walked in, and I
Okay.
could just tell by your physique that you're more
We know.
your lower body
Yeah.
more than upper.
It was just him saying
So
stuff.
I'm
I
like,
just-
damn, was he used to like BBLs or what's happening here?
Who knows?
In that case, then yeah, everyone's got a small
knows?
one compared to a booty that's just been jammed with like fat. Of course, I don't
for
even
sure.
have one on that scale.
I would love for you to do a series on it though, because
That's a great.
yeah, it's not something
thing.
that's really talked about
Yeah.
openly. It's not something that they really want to ask questions on, but it's a
No.
real thing. And
It's a real thing.
It's something that people are struggling with
Yep.
and trying to resolve in very weird other ways.
Weird
Going to the
ways.
gas station, doing
Oh,
the
the
honey
extends
packs,
or-
doing like it's just all
Honey
types
packs? What is that?
of. So honey.
Did Mr. Organic talk about this? Putting honey on the lingam for something. He didn't really go into it.
I mean, I seen people put it on food. Like it's literally a honey pack that's supposed to like make you. I've never used one.
I don't go to the gas station, so I don't know.
I
It's
don't
like
even know. I think people get it at sex store. I literally don't know where people get this thing, but it's literally like it looks like a honey pack, and I guess it's supposed to like. Have you ever heard of Mama Juana? Like that drink, they say it makes you either horny or angry.
no.
I guess it's supposed to have that same.
Is it
effect.
yerba mate or? Is it like a
I
yerba
drank it in
mate?
DR, and
Oh, that's why.
it was like a rooted drink.
Well, I'm
was-
going there to facilitate a retreat because
Oh,
I've
ask
already
them about
been.
Mama Juana.
So I'm gonna get some. I'm gonna do a little show and tell on this.
Well, I think it's an alcoholic beverage.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, I
okay.
know. And it's based off of like roots. Like it's put. I don't know what tree it comes from. I
But
don't
there's
know.
some kind of herb in that, yeah.
Yeah, and they say it's either gonna make you really angry or really horny. So I don't think honey packs do that. I'm not saying that honey packs do that. I know that honey packs are supposed to
No.
make you super, super horny though. Like I'm talking like people were making jokes.
Honey, like just straight honey.
No, there's something in it.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I was gonna say no.
There's something in it, and honey packs for men.
No,
This is what
not.
it looks like.
Oh shit! Is it really 10:30?
Yeah. You've never seen those before?
Oh, it's it's royal jelly, royal honey. I think it's royal jelly. Yeah, it's actually
What is
black
that?
tie honey. Yeah. So
Oh,
I've
so
heard
is that like an organic way
I've-
for real?
No, I've heard of these. These are, I'm pretty sure this is royal jelly, and then I've heard of black tie honey as well. It's different than regular honey. There's, like the tantric men use bee pollen, so there's some components of it for stamina and things like that. But yeah, I
Okay.
didn't know they were selling them like that.
Man, and people are taking them and they're like 22
I'm
years
sure.
old, and I'm like, why are you just not horny
You should be.
on your own?
Yeah, the
But
porn.
listen, lay off the honey packs. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, no honey.
Do you want to tell them? I really appreciate you coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm so grateful. I've been so
I'm so
excited.
excited
The people are
too.
so excited.
I
They
know.
literally flooded me with so many questions.
Well,
and
we'll have to do a part 2 and come back and do some body work.
100%.
And yeah, I think I'm so happy to actually have been able to make a podcast with one woman in Miami come to fruition.
Of course.
So I love this and definitely want to do it again. Definitely want to come work on you next time.
I would love that.
Tell
them where to find
Yeah,
you.
my book. So get my book on Amazon. If any of this stuff was remotely interesting to you and fascinating, which it had to be, or I don't know where you're living. This book is, I go into almost everything I talked about and more in here. It's an illustrated book. Terrell Owens wrote the foreword for it. This is a gem for men, women, couples, doesn't matter. Amazon. Also, if you just hit up Shakti Living JG for Janelle Gordon, that's Shakti Living JG. Instagram, it'll give you the link to my book. apply to attend the retreat, my website, my shop to buy all the yoni stuff, the steam, the eggs, the wand. And yeah, thank you so much
I'll
for
put
having
the
me.
link in the description.
Yes, please. Amazing.
Yeah, see you soon.